The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, hello. I'm starting with a rhyme, so get up and go. I'm done. That was it. That's all I got. I was gonna go on, see how long I can do this. It ran out and almost immediately. So that was that. What's up, everybody? How are you? Rena's here with me today. Say hello, Rena.
Hello.
And we are actually all working from home because our office is still fucked up and flooded. So that's cool. And so Rena's at her house. I'm at my house right now, just down the street from the office. And the entire team is working via Google Hangouts. So I say that's one cool thing about what we do is that, thank the Lord, we can just communicate with you guys via chat and via internet, interwaves, things and whatnot. But anyways, Mark, what up? Eric, John, Michael, Mark, Al, Eddie, Blake, Michelle, Eric, David. Joe, what's up, man? Jay. We will rebuild, Jay. We will rebuild. Ali, Arlene, Dan, what's up, what's up, what's up? Listening to last month's Gene poll, I heard you're a Chargers fan. Go Chiefs, 27-year season ticket holder, Greg. Man, that's a long time to be on a drought of Super Bowls there. That's a long time to watch a whole bunch of almost. I mean, Angela, what's up? How are you? How's it going? Thank you, Janice. I mean, honestly, the flooding is really not that big of a deal. It's just a pain in the butt. You know, we're ripping out the floors again that I just put in. So they're redoing those. They're doing all kinds of stuff. They had to literally break down the walls to get all the water out, replacing carpets upstairs. So it's like a complete reconstruction. And, you know, again, that doesn't matter. Insurance, you know, does their thing, but it's just the time is a little. And it sucks too because we had like this whole live stream event that we are putting together that we got to push back. Was it from a storm? No, we're in San Diego. We don't do that. We don't believe in those. It was from a fucking sprinkler head breaking. Go figure. While everybody was downstairs, it went off upstairs. So it's pretty bad luck. Let's see. Is the Shih Tzu okay? No, that's my dog. He's 4. He's a Yorkie. Don't ever disrespect, Dave. Don't ever disrespect. Like, take photos and target the damage niche and the insurance niche. You know, it's funny you said that. Like, we literally have video of the flood, and we were thinking about running an insurance campaign for it. That's funny. Don't be playing hoops in your office and you won't hit the sprinkler. That's the crazy thing is it was upstairs. It wasn't even around all the fun stuff. I wish we had, you know, I wish it was something like that. Yeah.
No, you don't.
But no, I don't wish it was that. Yeah. No, it just happened and it rained on everybody. But the good news is I wasn't in the office, so nothing actually happened to me. It was only Rena and everybody else. That's
pretty gross.
That's the plus side. None of the equipment we got, most of the equipment, Robin. You know, we stockpiled that. So I got a lot of cameras and stuff in my house. That was the main thing I was concerned with. Until I realized how bad the floors were. But I mean, it's not like they could have saved the floors. I mean, maybe if everybody laid on the floor and soaked it with their clothes instead, I don't know. Maybe we could have done it better. Who knows? Is everybody all caught up? Who's all caught up on all the skills in here? Because as we go along, the more it is. Who's all caught up? Who was with us for the persuasive writing when we got it popping? There you go. Okay, I see some people. Dave, Arlene, Dan, Al, I see you. I was. Arlene, that sounds pretty past tense. How we change that. Going through them a second time. Michelle, that's how you win right there. I love when people do that. Overwhelmed with the info. Take it one lesson at a time. Yeah. Grace says 2 away from being caught up. I love it, man. How is it so far? I have a serious question. For those of you who have gone through all of them, do you feel like you're a stronger, you know, I'll say entrepreneur as a result of it? Not just a marketer, et cetera, but a stronger entrepreneur as a result of it. You know, that's the huge thing. Arlene says, absolutely. Someone says, I feel more confident. Good. through the first week. Took a business trip. It's all good, Kyle. You can go back and get that. Cool. Good, good, good. Good job. Love it, love it, love it. Cool. Radonna, what's up? Thank you, Arlene. That was probably the best. I'm so happy you said that. Arlene said, what you're teaching can be transferred to any media we work with. Exactly. That's why we go with terms like clicks into customers. That's why we go with terms like customer acquisition. Facebook's hot now. Fuck, we're not married to Facebook. If something else is hot in a year, guess what? You're going to see all of our lessons turn. So over the next few decades, we want to be that place you go to find out what the newest, greatest thing is and how to apply it to turn it into money for your clients and for yourself. Jay. Okay, Jay, not Ja. Gotcha. Thanks for breaking it down. Janice says she feels more knowledgeable when talking to prospects. Love it. Christina says, great to know this on how to assimilate, etc. Well, let's get into today now. Done a little introduction. Got my water. Got my Rena here. Holla. And what I want to go with you guys today is something that I truly believe we took forever, like, damn, what skills should we teach this month? What skills should we teach this month? Because there's like so many we can go through. And then ultimately we decided that automation was probably the sole biggest skill that we use every single day in our business to take our tiny organization of 16, 17 people on payroll or whatever and really function like we were probably 2 or 3 times the size. Okay. And it also helps our margins being more of a profitable company. So let me ask you guys an honest question, and I really want to be open dialogue for this call because I got a lot to show you and I want to have conversations. So right now, how many of you feel like you don't have enough time in the day to truly grow your business the way that you want? Like you just feel like time is literally, it overwhelms you, it stresses you out, it keeps you up at night. Just send a yes. Jay, yes. Ashley, yes. Al, yes. Kyle, yes. Douglas, yes. Teresa, yes. Radonna, John, Arlene, Regina, Joe, Jay, Janice, David, Dave, Mike, Angela. I was literally trying to keep up and I gave up. Christina, everybody. Yeah, I'll sleep when I'm dead. And all those things are true, right? Like I was talking to Rena about this. Actually, we were fighting via text message. And I realized dude, it's been, the last 7.5 years of me doing this whole business thing. And I think now for the first time, the last couple months, I've finally had a little bit of time. And I still feel like I have no time because there's so much other shit I can be doing, but I can breathe. And I was like, how is that possible? How can we be growing, but I'm gaining a little bit more time back? And that's because of team and automation. That's what we're talking about today. Okay. So I'm going to break down something a little unique. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope it truly helps you bring back your time because at the end of the day, you can make more money. You can lose more money. You can never gain back more time, at least not yet. Who knows? Maybe in the future that'll change. Okay. Jay says how to automate Facebook. No. Bigger than that. How to basically automate your business. Okay. So we got a lot of points here as me and Alex were putting this presentation together. By the way, follow me on Snapchat or you're a bad person. Literally something really bad is going to happen to you today if you don't follow me on Snapchat. Is that bad? Rena, is that too much? Ask Jean. Yeah. Last week we went over Facebook, how to not suck at Facebook advertisements, a really clever title, how to create an entire Facebook campaign in less than an hour. And Jordan was on here. We actually built one out with you guys. After the click, what happens? And then we had a guest speaker, Andrea, who's fantastic. She's huge. So if you guys didn't watch that skill, I mean, you're literally leaving money on the table. It's falling out of your pot. There's holes in your jeans and money's just creeping out. That's how I feel about that. This week's focus, the cute title that we came up with was humans versus robot, right? How many of you right now, just so I have an idea of the room, let me gauge here. How many of you are currently using automation in your business? And how many of you are kind of just relying on you doing everything? How many of you are working on it with a team and relying on, a team? Okay. Schedule posts. Yeah, Teresa, that does count. 100%. 100% that counts. And we'll get into that. So what you're going to learn today, how to gain time for yourself, 5 steps of automation, and how to identify what you should be doing versus what your team should be doing versus what robots should be doing, okay? So what is automation? We kind of try to like bootleg this definition. It was hard to do, but it's a series of processes that are self-acting or self-regulating and triggered by consumer behavior, right? So that was a little bit of Billie Jean, a little bit of Google, and a little bit of some more random Billie Jean stuff, right? So let's jump into this. What you're looking at here is in our company, how we leverage automation. I thought this was a good idea to kind of give you guys an overview, and then we'll work backwards and kind of simplify all this. But when I'm saying automation, because the word can be, very broad, I wanted to show you guys this. How many of you have heard of Lucid Chart before? How many of you have heard of Lucid Chart? Give me a no or yes. Just interact, regardless if you have or haven't. Let me know. Most of you haven't, okay? So this flow, like literally almost no one, okay? It's a fantastic tool. It's an application through Google, and it's free. And unless you like do a lot of them, then you got to pay like $4 a month or something stupid. But nonetheless, do you guys see this flow chart in front of you? Is my screen accurate, Rena? Am I caught up here? Can they see it?
Wait, what?
Can you see my actual like screen, like the process chart? Okay, you guys can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So this right here was created using the software called Lucid Chart, and I'm actually going to do you one better. I'm gonna dive in, and I'm gonna actually go to that. All right. So where is it? I believe it's here. Okay, cool. Can you guys all see this still now? Now we're in the, it's like an editor. It looks like an editor a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So let me move my microphone here so you guys can still hear me. Someone says they use Xmind. Yeah, there's a lot of softwares out there. It doesn't really matter which one which one you choose. It's just that. So what you guys are looking at here, and again, I'm not going to overwhelm you or give you too much here, but is the process that happens every single day, and that's happening every single time that we have our advertisement on. And so visually, before we run any advertising campaign, you have to start backwards with an objective. So Rena and I worked on this flow together, and this is the process that we use, no exaggeration, to turn strangers who have a passion in marketing into millions of dollars into our business. And this is how it all begins. Before we run any ads or anything, we'll sit in a room. It's not that exciting. Rena pulls up her laptop. Usually I don't pull up mine. We'll do like a Google Chromecast to a bigger TV, and we'll fucking sit there and we'll ramble about what needs to happen. Okay? So anyways, coming from here, you can see at the top, we start with the HQ Blitz video ad, okay? Meaning when someone sees this process, this is the very first thing they see as our advertisement. And then they go to a registration page where they can register for a webinar. Now, most of you, if not all of you, how many of you have seen one of our webinars? Like probably every single person here, if you're with our organization, you've seen one of them. Okay, so good. Most of you have, right? So this is the funnel of what's actually happening, and this is how we use automation. So we start with an advertisement, and then people register. Now, when you're building out automation, you need to understand that when someone says no, it doesn't mean they're dead. It just means they're no, but they can still be money into your business. So in this case, if someone doesn't register, can you guys see my mouse, actually? So I know if you can even highlight. Okay, cool. You guys can. Oh, perfect. So I'm here on this turquoise box here. It says 50K in debt, event or webinar registration. If someone says yes, then they come here to our automated webinar series that happens 3 times a day, right? At 11 o'clock, 5 o'clock, or the very hour that they go to the platform. So for example, if someone pulls up a webinar registration right now, because it's 9:15, it'll say this webinar is at 10 o'clock. Does that make sense? And if they can't make it, then their next options are 11 and 5 the next day. That's how we have it structured, okay? Now, if they come to the registration page and they don't, then we go into retargeting, and then we show them a different webinar. So in other words, okay, maybe the first webinar didn't hook them, the 50K and 7 debt, but maybe our 7-figure job, blah, 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 that requires a lot of hustle webinar has actually hooked them. So I'm not going to go into this like too much because it's a lot of shit, but what I'm showing you guys is, overview speaking is this is what your business should look like, not just on the customer acquisition side, but literally every single aspect of it. And so if I can give you guys an action task by the time we're done with today, can you all agree that you'll log into Lucidchart and start creating processes with your business? Just type in, yes, I can do that if you're down, or no, and fuck it, and, you don't have to. You know what I mean? Like, okay. I was on like a sales call with someone the other day, and literally I was like, "What's up, man? How can I help you? Like, I heard you wanted to talk. You had questions." And he just goes, "I don't have any questions." So I said, "Okay, like, well, what do you want to do here?" He's like, "Nothing." Why am I even talking about that? It's just a true story that happened. I don't know who the fuck the guy was. It was the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. But it was funny. So anyways, continuing on, everyone should have a damn chart, and I'll go into how you can create these for all aspects of your business in just a moment. So what this happens to do is it takes them from, top to bottom. From the second they see an ad, from the second they register for one of our webinars, to if they don't register to one of our webinars. And then once they register, we even have emails that go out forever. So within 24 hours, they basically get a call to action to apply to work with us, 3 different emails. And then after that, they're getting emails, for no exaggeration, like, how long is this sequence, Rena? I don't fucking know. I don't think this is updated. How many emails do you think are in this?
Emails, like 50 or something.
50. Okay. So peep this.
Ish.
And I'm going to go back to my skill here, this chart. So what I want to point out to all of you is this, is while Rena and I are talking with you guys right now, and think about how powerful this is. I really want you to mess with me here. Me and Rena are right here hanging out with you guys. We're 100% present. And while we're doing this, we're using automation to find new customers and sell them. And it's happening for not just, one moment or one day, like in most retail stores where someone comes into the store and they buy or don't buy. We're taking it, and people are, no exaggeration, hearing from us for the next 80 days or something like that. 80 days. So imagine if you had a system in your business that was consistently fighting for you, finding customers, and doing all of the follow-up for 80 days. How many of you have a system in place like that right now? And remember, the amount of money that you make is directly correlated with the amount of offers that you make. So if every single day we're asking people for 80 days straight if they want to work with us, and we're doing it while we're helping them, right? We're always sending content to help people. But if we have that every day, think about how powerful that is. So I'm going to give you guys a real life tangible example of how this actually helped us, this follow-up sequence, and show you guys how powerful it is. So Rena, this month, how long did we run ads for? What was the actual time?
It was like the first week, I think.
First week. And how much did we spend?
Like 80 grand or something.
Okay. So we dropped 80 grand in a week, right? And we pretty much saw a return on our investment. I think our margins weren't huge within like the second week. We already pretty much doubled up our money. So we were getting, when we were running our advertisement, about 66 appointments today for a day for our program when the ad was actually on. But when the ad was off the rest of this month, as it was cooling down, we were still getting 30 appointments a day. Think about how powerful that is. We're spending 0 ad dollars and still have 30 appointments a day for people wanting to be with us. Why? Because we still had our retargeting ads on, which cost almost nothing, but we still had this email sequence that was consistently driving people to our offer. So again, if you didn't make any sales in the day in your business, the very first question I would ask you is, how many people did you ask to buy it? We're asking thousands of people a day, therefore we're making sales every day. Does that make sense to everyone? Just type yes if you're with me so far. Okay. All right, cool. Jason asks, are you using Infusionsoft to move everyone through the phone? No, man, we're even more basic than that. We're basic batch. We're using freaking MailChimp, man. MailChimp, nothing even crazy here. This is not wild. So now I'm going to continue to give you guys like actual like template like type of deals so that we can get in here. Mark brings up a point. He says it's a numbers game. Exactly. So if you're not even playing in the numbers game, how can you expect to succeed? All right. So 5 steps of automation. This is what you guys will need to do. And this is the overview. Is identify your services, identify the skills required to deliver that service, what tools you're going to need to deliver that service, and then you have to identify the tasks required to deliver that service. And I'm going to show you examples of all of these, okay? And then after you do those first 4 steps, that's when you decide if you should assign it to a robot, which means what I just showed you, a team member, or do it yourself, all right? So diving forward here, Billie Jean is a marketing service, right? The service that we offer people is customer acquisition via paid Facebook advertising. So a stranger comes up to us on the street and says, hey, Billy, how can you and your team make me more money? We always get that shit. And usually when they ask, I'm like, we can't, sorry. But how can we and your team make you more money? And I say very simply, we help you find customers using paid Facebook and Instagram advertisements. Do you need more customers? They say yes. Okay, well, that's what we do. So that's what I'm going to focus on today, is kind of showing you the breakdown of how we do it, but then we'll kind of have an open discussion for some of your businesses and show you how it applies. So step 2 here, identifying the skills required to actually give this service. Now, I skipped ahead. I got ahead of myself. Back to step 1, identifying your services. Right now, if you guys can take a second and within your businesses, give me the top 3 services that you offer. Type it out real fast. Like literally, like do it for yourself. It's going to help you like actually get a lot from this call. So I'll wait a second here. Just give me a type in. What do you actually do? What are the services that you provide? If it's just one, tell me it's just one. But if it's multiple, let me know too. Okay. So someone says printer repair. Someone says lead gen. All right. Someone says marketing, strategy, copywriting, and consulting. That's a fantastic example. So you have 4 different services there. Somebody says websites, FB marketing, Wi-Fi marketing, website management. Let's take that. Michael's example. Everybody stop for a second because you're typing too much shit. It's going too fast. Okay. So I'm going to scroll back up. Tutoring, online classes, music lessons. Okay. That's a good one too to show you guys here. Hold on here. Scrolling up to you, Michael. Where did your comment go? All right, websites, FB marketing, Wi-Fi marketing, and website management, okay? So that's what Michael just typed in, everyone. So I'm going to use this as an example. The reason why you have to identify your services whenever you're creating any kind of automated process, things that are just happening automatically while you're sleeping, is because every single service that you have requires a different process in an automation sequence to make it work. Therefore, if you offer a gazillion different services, for 4 or 5 different services, for you to automate your entire business is going to be extremely difficult. If you have a business, and actually answer this question, if you have a business, someone just put it, consulting, where literally every single client is different, and every single time you deal with someone, it's a different conversation, your ability to automate your business is almost none. You can do a few like templates, but it's almost none because everything's different and you're going to see how much that matters. So right now is one of the best tips I can give you, and you guys have heard me say it a gazillion times, is you need to niche the hell down. If you're doing all kinds of, like my favorite thing is when I meet somebody and they say, I said, what do you do? They say, oh yeah, I own like 5 businesses. I'm like, oh shit, you own 5 businesses, huh? And then they go off and on. And I'm just like, are any of them making money? And they're like, yeah, yeah. Okay, right? So people do too much. Let me go into these fucking examples so I can show you guys what I mean here. So first thing you need to do is you need to identify which service you actually want to automate. If you have multiple services, choose the one that you're actually selling most of the time, right? Usually it's 20% of your services that make up 80% of your revenue. That's the rule of thumb. So everyone, if you just typed out a bunch of stuff, for the sake of this exercise, choose the one that you're actually doing all of the time and the one that's paying your bills at the end of the month. Is everybody with that? Cool. So in this case, I'm choosing the only service that we sell as a company, and it's customer acquisition. That is all we do, period, done. No website, none of that other shit. No SEO, we focus on that. In order to actually do that, and there's plenty of other skills that are required, but just for the sake of teaching, I've simplified it. We have copywriting. We have constructing a campaign, like actually knowing how to use Facebook to build this out. Landing page optimization, knowing what headline you should use, where to place a video, what colors to make the call to action button, what to say on the button, all of those things. And then graphic design. Right? A lot of what we do is visual. So if we don't have beautiful images, that makes it a little bit more challenging. So once you identify the skills that it actually takes to deliver the service, then you want to rate these skills from a scale of 1 to 10 of which are the most difficult to do, right? Which are the most difficult to do? So I'll give you an example. And as I'm doing this, type it in for your business, okay? If I'm talking about constructing a campaign, which literally is the process of actually going into Facebook, opening up the ads or ads manager or power editor, right? And actually taking the time to like place the image, right? Like paste the copy, like the fundamentals of building the structure, that right there is probably, a lot easier to do than copywriting. Copywriting is something that's extremely challenging. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of skills. Rena's sitting here with me right now. I would say about a year and a half of working together, she really started to like understand it, get it, and I can have her write her own ads, and that was it. That was after a year and a half of working together every single day. Megan, who I think is on this call today, she writes emails with me a lot. So it literally took her 100, this is not a lie, 100, over 100 emails to write before she had written an email that I made 0 corrections on. It took her 100. So when you're creating automation within your business, you have to identify what's really hard and what's really easy, because it's going to help you bring clarity on what you can actually have other people do. Does that make sense to everybody? So take your business, whatever skill it is, and I want you guys to write down on a scale of 1 to 10, type in the number, how difficult it is to do. 10 being the most difficult, 1 being the easiest. So the skills and the services that you provide, go ahead and type in your number. All right, type in that number for a second. I'm seeing an 8. I'm seeing a 10. I'm saying some more 8s, 10s. Right. So all of you guys have these complicated services. So let's think of ways to simplify them. All right. So now let's go to the next step. Once you guys identify the skills that you need to do this, then you have to identify the tools that you're using. So for example, with us, using Facebook's platform, that's an entire tool. If someone's never used Facebook's Ads Manager before, it's like speaking a different language to them. It's very, very challenging. If someone's never used Lead Pages before, it's a different language. If you've never used ClickFunnels before, it's a different language. If you've never used MailChimp, Aweber, Infusionsoft, all that shit, it's a different language. If you've never used Photoshop, it's a different language. So you next need to narrow down and say, all right, what actually tools am I using to make this happen? And do the same thing. Give it a scale of 1 to 10 of the skills that you use, each one individually, of which ones are easy or difficult to use. So go ahead and type in the numbers, knowing the platforms that you need. And if you're in like a physical product business, maybe it's like manufacturing and factory, whatever the hell it is, the tools you use, a tool is a tool. Maybe it's a software, maybe it's a physical product, right? But whatever it is, just give it a number right now, scale of 1 to 10, how difficult it is. And you want to actually note this because, again, when I come to the exercise at the end, it's all going to kind of click together. Okay? Now let's get into the fun part. Identifying the task required to deliver the service. And this is where I need all of your guys' attention. So right now, if you guys were to deliver this service that we're talking about, how many steps are there to actually executing your service? How many steps are there to actually executing this service? How many individual tasks are there to do your service? Or do you even know that? Do you even know that? Go ahead, type some stuff in. Some people say 5 to 7. Some people say 5. Some people say 5, 5, 5. How many steps? Someone said too many to count. Someone said 15. Okay? So what I'm going to show you guys is to build a campaign. And this is an incomplete doc, but it's going to paint the picture for you guys. But this is what it really takes to execute a task. And if you only have 3 to 5 steps, let me show you the difference between someone who can automate their business and someone who can't. Okay? So I'm going to pull this up for y'all. Hold on here. Wait for it. Damn it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So it's a work in progress, but you guys will get the idea. For us to build a Facebook ads campaign, I could simplify it for you guys right now, and I will. I'd say, all right, figure out the targeting, create an ad in Facebook, send them to a landing page, collect their information, and have a way to follow with them to make into a sale. Boom, 4 steps, done, right? But if that's how you view your business, you're never going to be able to automate. And let me show you. To really build a campaign, there's a ton of steps. So I'm going to glance over these in kind of like a speed because the steps don't really matter. But nonetheless, you can see how a detailed breakdown actually flows. So for example, whenever we create a campaign, we have to create a Gmail or Yahoo account for our clients. That's the first step that we're doing. Then we got to create a username for them on all 3 of these services. That's another step. Then we have to make a password for them. Then we have to create them a MailChimp account. And then we have to create a login for their MailChimp account. And then we have to activate their MailChimp account. And then after that, we actually have screenshots of every single step. Then we need the API key for that. And then we need, I'm going to just keep scrolling, all kinds of shit to actually get this done. So we go and we go and we go. And as you can see at the bottom of this document, this is 49 pages long of a fucking process, right? A simple process that I could have easily said, yeah, it's 5 steps, it's done. But when you really go down to it, look how it's difficult. Now we're talking about putting in pixels. What does the pixel actually look like? Look at this. Crazy, right? There's so much stuff in here. And so, again, I'm just kind of teasing you guys with this a little bit, but I want to paint the picture here. This is important, okay? Hold on here. Does anybody see how insanely, I got questions here. Can we get a copy of that? We need this in camp. Will this be available for download? It's incomplete. We got to finish it right now, but we are going to do something with it. Yeah, we'll probably give it in some form of camp. I know everybody's like, let me get that shit. Let me get that shit. But my point is you want to create it for your own. And so to create a document like this, it's literally taking your service, okay? Taking your service and taking every single thing that you do and writing it down. And let me show you why this is going to help you. Hold on here. All right. Because in step 5, you want to start classifying. Okay? You want to start classifying. So what I mean by classifying is going back through that worksheet and asking yourself, is this a task that you can do, a robot can do, or a team member can do? Okay? And here's the tips to know that. If it's you doing it, you need to, right? And actually everyone do this right now. Let's just fucking do this together. Fuck it. I want everyone as the CEO of your company, which most of you are. It's like 95% of you in here are, okay? Write down right now into the chat what your greatest strengths are. Like, what are you insanely good at? What can you do that brings the most value to your company? Someone says graphic design. Someone says design sales, selling, persuasive writing, closing. So when you write that out right there and you say, okay, you got to play to your strengths as starters, okay? But then you got to ask yourself, is that strength actually helping grow and bring revenue to your company, right? So I wrote down example of my company. What I'm good at is teaching, selling to many, and content creation, okay? I stay in my lane, period. That is what I do. I'm on a call with you guys right now. I'll create, presentations before this to get ready for my calls. We create videos all of the time to attract more customers. That is what I do. That's what my job, that's what my strength is. That's what I'm really, really good at. Therefore, I stick to it. Now, robot stuff, what do we actually try to automate? And the number one thing we look for are time-consuming tasks. Time-consuming task, predictable task, and repeatable task. So what's something that you guys have to do every single day in your business that takes you forever to do? Simple question. What's something that you have to do every single day in your business that takes you forever to do? Edit photos. That's a fantastic one. That's a great example, right? To me, for editing photos, that's definitely something, Arlene, that if you edit all the photos in the world, is it going to make you more money? Is it going to bring money into the company? By you doing that, for example, if all day, every day, you just edited photos, how quickly would you go bankrupt? But yet, you just said that's like one of the most time-consuming things. So as your CEO, why would you spend any time doing it, right? Someone else says follow up on emails. If that's taking you all damn day to go through emails and it limits your ability to go out and earn business, why would you spend all your time doing it? You guys see what I'm saying? It's crazy, right? We don't want to do that anymore. So that's where you want to go through your task sheet that I just showed you, that 49-page document explaining it, and you literally want to just mark next to every single thing, and you want to say, is this my strength? Okay, then that's a Billy Meyer. I'll put a B next to that. Is this something that has to be done every day that's just a pain in the butt? Okay, I need to find a way to automate this process. Or lastly, is this something that requires expertise and some critical thinking, but it's one of your weaknesses? I'll give you guys a fantastic example of what this is for me. So Arena will tell you, I've gotten better, I would say. I mean, maybe she'll disagree, but I wasn't, at least when Rena first came on, and it's always been something I struggled with in high school and stuff. I've never been organized, period. I've never been organized. Like I've never been good at it. Like I'm always just kind of like the energy guy going da-da-da. What I've realized is, do you agree, Rena?
Yeah.
So what I've realized in business though is that's not an option. You want to grow a real fucking company, guess what? You better be good at organization. And you better be good at numbers too. Those two things. That's a random tip I'll give you guys. If you're not good, practice, get better, or you're never going to be as successful as you want. So as I'm continuing to get better as organization, but knowing my company needs to be organized right now this second, I hired a personal assistant. And some people were like, really? A personal assistant? Da 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 da. Rena, real shit. Between Taylor and Ashley, how much more productive have we gotten over this last year having them fucking help me manage my time and the company's time?
Oh yeah, so much. I mean, you're just all over the place all the time, and you need them.
Yeah. And so like literally on my day, like even like today, like I don't know what I'm doing a lot of days. They have that shit planned out for me, planned out for the company. And that was a weakness that I said, hey, that's not something I can just kind of wing. So I need to invest into people to help me fill that void. So right now, just because let's have a conversation about this. Let's talk through this because I think this call today is more about understanding your own businesses and your strengths and weaknesses. What's something that you know you're really bad at that you need somebody else to come and do? While you guys are typing that, I'll tell you a story. My homegirl, she owns a clothing store. Okay. She is super good with clothes and buying and purchasing and styling and all that stuff. However, she's not very strong when it comes to outward selling, like actually getting out there and putting her name out there. She gets really shy. So I said, you have two options. Get really fucking good at it or hire someone else out to do it, or your business is going to stay stuck. It's that simple. So some people are typing stuff right now and says, David says following up. So one thing, David, that I would do, and I'm actually going to talk through these problems right here. So we'll kind of stop. If you already typed, just leave it there so I can kind of focus here for a second. But let's take an issue of following up. David just typed that. David, what do you mean by that? What do you need to follow up with? David, when you're saying follow up, what does that mean? What do you need to follow up with? Okay. And then another David said technical stuff. When you're saying technical stuff, what do you mean by that specifically? What's the tech stuff that holds you back? Okay. Mark says organizing. That's me all day long. Okay. All right. And so I'll give them a second to type. And some other people put like graphic design. Right. Organization was another one. I'm really bad at not realizing I cannot become really good at everything. Simple tip. Just get better at that. Do it. Just realize it. There's no magic to that one, right? Dan says he hates answering emails. What kind of business are you in, Dan? And when you say you hate answering emails, what do you mean by that? So I'll give you tips for all of these of how we've used them in our business to do so. Okay. Commercial lending lead gen. Okay. So people will send you emails and you hate dealing with all the bullshit. Okay. So this is what I will tell you, Dan. The best thing that we've ever done, and Rena will attest to this too, and I'll explain how it kind of applies to what we're kind of learning today, is we've taken the process and said, damn, we spend so much time replying to all of our customers, we don't even have time to build out the campaigns. So when you're looking at this list, I say, well, these are predictable because they're always asking the same damn questions. Does everybody follow me there? So Dan's problem is right now is that he gets overwhelmed with all these questions and emails. He doesn't want to fucking answer them. So when I'm looking at this quick tips list here, I say they're time consuming to respond back, which stops him from doing what he does and growing the business. But more importantly, they're predictable and repeatable because at the end of the day, everyone always asks the same shit. So using robots, how can we solve that problem, people? I'll tell you how we solved it internally. Mike just wrote it. Number one, have you guys ever heard of a page that was called a frequently asked questions page? That shit is not just there to be cute. It's because their questions are frequently asked and they can easily save time. So that's one way of letting, quote, robots run your business. The second is having pre-made templates. We have spreadsheets with responses to all different types of questions. When a client comes on board, we know exactly what emails to send them. So Dan, what you want to do is take your frequently asked questions, and then you want to take all the questions that are consistently asked, and you want to make a spreadsheet and literally break them down by category. And when someone asks that question, what you're going to do is you're going to copy and paste a response to that person and change the name. That's how you let robots do for you. Does that make sense for everyone? Are you guys with me there? Kind of following Dan's situation here? Type in, you with me? Cool. Pretty straightforward, right? So again, if you guys aren't breaking down the task and asking yourselves these questions, well, how can you ever really get better, right? Next is, going back to the expertise I require. So I use organization as one, but then I was looking at other things. And, so something that's really been helpful with having someone like Rena is, Rena has a lot of the same skills that I do in regards to building a campaign. So right now I can have a conversation with Rena and I say, hey, I want to build a campaign for computer repairs. And, this is what I want it to look like and feel like. And she has a skill set to be able to deliver that by herself. So I can lay out the strategy and Rena can actually execute. That's huge because realistically, when you're running a company, you want to be on the strategic side. That's in everyone's best interest to grow the company and bring more money in. But if I'm spending all of my time executing, I'm going to lose. So take my guy, Doug. Doug, are you on this call today? I've seen you chatting a little bit. Doug. All right. So Doug's super talented. He's got like a print company and he's worked with some big companies. He's had some super wins. But Doug, as long as you're always the guy being the creative dude, being the guy who's doing all the printing and you're actually executing and you're working in the business instead of on the business, like the strategy and the actual growth, your company is going to stay in the same exact spot, right? And the key to solve it, what I have found, and this is for everyone here, is investing into people. So when Rita first came in, she didn't know all of this stuff that I'm showing you, that flow chart that we created in the beginning. 2 years ago, she would have never been able to do that. So me being in business for the long term, I said, okay, I need to fucking, I got to teach this girl the ropes. So Rena has literally sat next to me for about 2 years and how many months?
Like 3.5.
3.5. 2 years and 3.5 months building campaigns. And now I would say in about 18 months later, she's now able to execute on really, really complicated campaigns. And if I had to pause the growth of the business to do it, we would lose money as a company. See what I'm saying? So again, does this make sense to everyone? How while I'm giving these examples, while I'm breaking this down versus teammate, robot, I just want to make sure this is actually helpful. Mike asked a question. He said, would you allocate build an ad to one member and build a landing page to another team member? No. We teach it as one package, Mike. The customer acquisition process, that 49-page document, one person is meant to do that. And the idea behind it was to be so detailed and so thorough. If, put it this way, let me ask you guys this business, answer honestly with a yes or no. Do you have something where if someone came in your business and needed to fulfill a service or fulfill an order, they can literally read a document and do it without talking to anybody? Got all no's. As long as you have that, it's going to be a challenge to scale your business. Even internally, we just had like a leadership day. We were realizing is, one thing I've done a bad job, well, I'm getting better at, but I've done a bad job at as a CEO is making it very, very known exactly what someone's responsibilities are and what their expectations are. And a lot of it stemmed from the fact as a company, we were offering too many services, too many products, and everything was always so custom. So there was no predictability. So when I brought somebody on, I'd be like, you have to be a little bit of everything. How many of you have hired somebody and said something like that? Well, you're going to have to know how to do this. You're going to have to know how to do this, da-da-da-da-da. This. Well, guys, when you look at these big, giant companies and, employees will respond back with some shit like, well, that's not in my job description. Right? But there's actually some logic to that, not for the employee being an ass and not being a team player, but from the company setting those expectations of this is your role, this is what you stick and do. Because they realize if it's not that clear, your business will crumble, right? So again, just kind of breaking it down, and I'll continue moving forward here, but I just really wanted to like over reiterate how, crucial all this stuff is. Anybody have any questions? Just kind of so far. Is this making sense? Are you guys with me? I know this is a little different than anything I've taught in the past, but I think it's just so important. Okay. Yeah, Mike says, all large companies have job descriptions, but are in a state of permanent chaos on IT projects. Yeah, exactly, because IT gets confusing and there's all these customs, right? So, cool. So great stuff. Mini MBA, cool. Let's see. Lara says, I get the doc has to be detailed, but really thought I would separate landing pages from other tasks, etc. Well, what happens, Mr. Bernard, is when you're testing landing pages for specific industries, you come to the point where you find a couple that really work. And if you're growing your business in a scalable way, a lot of the landing pages you build are very similar. So it's not about creating a landing page from scratch. It's about duplicating what's already been proven. That's the catch. Okay. Kyle, send us an email to askbillyjean@gmail. Okay. Let's see. Okay, continuing on here. Let's go to stuff. Is this what I wanted to do? Okay, let me backtrack here. So a couple things. If I had to give you guys like the complete takeaways, is identify your services, right? Because if you have multiple services, none of this is possible. So pick the one that you're really selling. All right. And you can just repeat the same process if you have multiple, but let's just stick with one. Next, identify the skills required and how difficult it is to do each of those. Next, identify the tools that you actually need to do this. Next, identify the tasks required. The task is the 49-page document to do one thing, right? That's how detailed it needs to be from top to bottom. Next is classify each task. Is it you? Is it the robot? Is it the team member? So as far as actionable, tangible things that you can do today to bring automation to your business is follow that damn process right there and immediately start pimping them out. Once you identify, hey, this is on some Robux stuff, create a solution for it right there. Because one thing I've learned with the team and myself, if we're ever in a state of overwhelm, it's always because we're in a state of lack of process, period. The only way to win back your time is with process. I want everybody to fucking own that statement. The only way to win back your time is with process and automation. All right? Okay. So automation work for business? Yes, let me show you how. All right? So we'll do a fun exercise here, and I'm kind of making up this exercise on the spot, but I thought it would be good to go to. Let me see if I have it pulled up here. Oh, I actually don't. Fuck. I thought I did. I thought I was going to be badass for a second. Let's see if this brings us in here. I'll log in to Upwork here. Hold on. I want to actually go into Upwork. I want to show you how we can do this for some of your guys' businesses. Coming in. Oh, there we go. I moved it screens. All right. How many of you can see this screen here. All right. Should all be able to see this. I'm at Elance right now, or Upwork.com. Oh, my questions disappeared on me. Oh, my attendee list disappeared on me. All right, shit's happening over here. Okay. Upwork's the best thing ever. You guys can literally build a fucking giant business by selling people your services and having other people on Upwork do it. It's a real thing. You can make a ton of money doing it, okay? So let's talk about your guys' business. Who feels like you have a struggle right now that is really hard and taking up your time, and you're missing process, you're missing organization, you're missing all the shit we've just been talking about today. You're using not enough. You after this call, you're like, damn, I'm really messing up on this. Type in the chat. Just tell me what business you are. Let's see if we can break it down as a group here, because I think it'll be fun to kind of do this. Okay. Okay. Here's a simple one. We'll start simple. Mike says creating the graphics for an ad. Okay. So that's one task that he's identified that's been a challenge for him, that if he were to do it himself, it would take him forever and would pull him off the focus of the company to actually do it. Okay. So Mike, right now, what's your current solution? Mike, what's your current solution? Fiverr. Perfect, right? So Fiverr, Upwork, whatever. So if I'm Mike, in 2 seconds, he can solve all of his stuff by creating a relationship. So this is how I evaluate this based on what I taught you today, is I say, okay, creating graphics is not something that a robot can do because it takes critical thinking, right? And it takes subjective, ability type of deal. So you actually have to find an expert. However, if you're rolling as a solopreneur, sometimes budgets are tight. That's why websites like Upwork are everything, where they connect you with freelancers all over the world. So literally, Mike, within 2 seconds here, we can type in graphic design up top. I'm going to search that bad boy. All right. And no exaggeration, in no time at all, you can get a ton of graphic designers who are great. And then you can even come in here, or you could just post the job and people will bid on it. But I'm just kind of showing you guys another way here. You can come in here and you can even see their portfolio of what they've done to see if they're the real deal. You can see how much money they made in the past. You can see the jobs that they're currently working on. You can see it all. So here's our portfolio link here. Let me see if I can pull that up. Whatever. I don't need to go to that right now to prove my point. But nonetheless, you can come here. You can see all the work that she's done. You can see what she's done. You can see what she's charged for previous jobs, and you can bid within your space. So there's a lot of people out here who are talented, but they may not have the portfolio, but are down to give her stuff a shot. And the beautiful thing with sites like this is, guess what, guys? You don't pay them until you're satisfied with the work. So let me give you an example of how I would structure this. Mike, if with your service, I would really identify what type of images you're making more than others. And if you work within a certain industry, then it's going to be really simple to do this. So for example, if you're focused, and let's say that you only work with people who design custom tables, right? And they do tables. Then you can find someone with a graphic design and say, hey man, make me 20 images of really cool custom tables based off this stuff. And you can charge them for it and literally just have a bin. And whenever you need one, you can have them edit it and change it a little bit, and you have this relationship with someone who you never met, and you can even get the mic in a different time zone. So while you're sleeping, they start working and you don't lose any downtime. Period. Just easy, right? And that's just leveraging other people. So is it robot? Or is it a team member? In this case, I would say team member, and I would use Upwork and make it super simple. And they have everything on here. Who else has a challenge or something that we can talk about? Kind of just want to sit here and do some live Q&A on this stuff because I think that's the most helpful. So someone brings up the point, says I'm not focused on one niche. So let me actually ask the question to the group. Does everyone realize how not being focused on a niche, a service, or industry would make this 1,000 times harder? Does everyone see that? Literally, it's crazy how more challenging it makes it. Stuff. That's why McDonald's is not in the business of serving burritos and pasta. Their logic to them is not, well, we already have the foot traffic, so we might as well sell them so we get traffic all the time because we have everything that they want. Because you run into all this shit. That's why they don't do it, right? Someone says, what about focusing on only 3 or 4 niches? Well, the key is to work on one niche, master it, and then you go to the next niche. Does that make sense? So get really good at it to the point where it's automated, meaning robots are doing their job. You have people in place to critically thinking. You just have to work on the strategic vision. And then you go to the next one, but only then. So it's not like you guys are stuck in a niche forever, but kill it at one, win, and then go through. David brings up a good point. He says, we know all this, but then sometimes we still try and do everything. Look, guys, girls, you can try and do everything all you want, but just realize the longer you do it, you will not grow your business. And if you do, you'll be so burnt out that you'll begin to hate your business. How many of you have suffered from that? Where you literally try and fucking do everything to the point where you literally you don't even like what you do anymore. Like it just totally kills it for you. I mean, it's true. I've worked with some people one-on-one, and some of them kind of get to this hump of, hey, I'm stuck at this kind of mark. And I'm like, look, you're at the mark where you have to bring on a team to scale to the next level. You can't do it by yourself anymore. The idea of getting rich by yourself is fake. No one does it. It's not a thing, except lotto winners. That's a thing. Yeah, Angela brought up a good point. She says it's like creating a new business every single time. Exactly. Right? Anybody else? Any other questions? Any other thing I can answer? Mike says, I found cookie cutter websites were too bespoke. Well, here's the thing. With websites right now, like how many of you have used ThemeForest before? How many of you have used ThemeForest? ThemeForest WordPress. Let's go here. A lot of yes, right? So I'll kind of break down to you what's happening in the industry too, right? So here's ThemeForest, where literally you can just purchase a WordPress theme, meaning the website's pretty much already done for you, all the technical stuff, and then you can kind of drag and drop and just change things. So what's happened, this is a perfect example of an industry that I believe is just getting completely destroyed. So 10 years ago, website design was like the ultimate thing. If you can design a website, you can charge people like $30,000 for a website and, take time and da-da-da. And then people said, God, I keep doing the same thing over and over again. They all have the pretty much same work, so I'm going to make a template for that. And guess what? ThemeForest and other companies like it were born, where literally they said, dude, I'm just going to sell people the template, have them change a few things that they can do on their own. And all of a sudden, the $50,000 websites are now $60 websites. And the crazy thing is, I talk to them every day, a lot of people whose entire business is built around building fucking websites. And I'm like, dude, that's great, but it's just a matter of time before you get owned by stuff like this. So I would definitely add an additional service, right? Somebody put, I use Weebly for sites, right? I can split, why spend all the time coding? It doesn't make any sense. A lot of people said they use WordPress. Even music. So before, musicians used to make a lot of money from having their music featured on movies, TV shows, placements, and they still do. It's still a business. But it's gotten dramatically smaller because you can go to places like Audio Jungle and just type in emotional music. I use this site probably more than anybody, right? And then I can just literally type in emotional, inspirational. Have you ever had a dream? Have you ever wanted? Your desire, your passion, your love, your kids, your children, the vision, the quest, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the love, the romance, your heart.
Stop.
You see what I'm saying? Like, just like that, we were able to put together an entire freaking music thing. You add some fucking words into it, and you're a superstar, But you guys, too, like, everyone in here you guys got to remember, this is an advanced crowd, right? You guys are in like the digital marketing space. You've been eating it up. A lot of you have been in here for many, many years. But I think what people sleep on is the opportunity. This conversation that we're having right now may seem like, okay, I get it, Billy, to you. But to 99.9999999% of the world, they don't know what the fucking Audio Jungle is. They don't know what the fuck a ThemeForest is. So you can literally sell someone a music, a website, a video, a music, and everything by just having good relationships with people on Upwork. Does that make sense to everybody? Literally, I can meet somebody and they say, I need to create a video, and I can have somebody on Upwork already in the pipeline. I need a website. I already have somebody on Upwork in the pipeline. And I can just refer out business all day and make a fortune. Really. But we always complicate it as entrepreneurs. We find ways to make it more difficult, and it doesn't need to be. Okay? Someone says, I have a team partner who expects me to know and get involved in every process, get mad at me when I say that's not in my lane. I want to focus on what I'm good at. Well, don't say it like that, Jay. But if that's the case, you know what I mean? Like, that's what you have to explain to them is like, I need to be a master at this. But it's hard too when you have a smaller company. You know, people do have a lot of hands in the pot and people do have to do everything. But as you grow and you scale, that's when you really realize the importance of got to be in pocket, got to stick to what you do. And also, too, the same thing I'll note here is I've lost a ton of money needing to help the team grow to ultimately create time. For example, there's been many sales calls on the education side, on the agency side, on the consulting side, the one-on-one side, the event side, everything that obviously I can do, right? Like I know the stuff, been in the game a long time. Like I've talked to everybody. I know the objections, right? So I can sell and close at a much higher rate than, my team, right? Respectfully so. However, if I continue to do that, they're never going to get better, and I'm always going to be stuck and limit the company at that growth point because it relies on me. Now it's very rare when I hop on a sales call, even though I'm totally willing to do it. But at the same time, your team has to be able to execute, and you have to own it from the business owner side and say, look, we're going to lose some money, and you got to be okay with that, knowing that you're in it for the big picture, you know? And exactly, Mike brings up a point. Have you listed out common objectives? Exactly. So we have an entire sheet for objections when people say stuff and how to rebuttal. Again, now we're using robots, right? We're using the robot portion to help with the human process. I need help finding an affordable copywriter. Yeah, I do have a suggestion for you. And I would go to, did I click out of it already? Yeah, I would go to upwork.com, what I was just on, and I would type in copywriter. The end. And that's it, guys. Like, and find someone and create a relationship. And once you have someone that works and does a good job, stay with them because the people on Upwork are looking for consistent income. So when they can build a relationship with someone who always needs it, it's a beautiful marriage, right? So even in camp, I was having a conversation. Camp, for those of you who don't know, that's our training program. I was having a conversation with two people who just linked up. One's really good with the tech stuff. One's really good at, the overall marketing and positioning, and she's done commercials and things like that. So that works for them. You know what I mean? Like, so again, I love seeing that partnership work out. And by the way, I guess we're in live Q&A right now, so we can just ask questions and speak kind of freely about it before next week's call. Let me see here. Unless you guys want to see me make more commercials. Marina. Like, and this is my favorite thing to do here is go to SAD. And then instead of best match, I go to best sellers, right? So regardless of what music you like a good song is a good song. I don't care what anybody says. Like, it doesn't matter what category you're in. You can understand why people like it. Therefore, best sellers is a fantastic indication of knowing what people will be hip to. So this one sold 2,559. So when I'm looking to really make people feel sad, which is the emotion that I took in, then all I can do is come here and I can press play and I can guarantee you, because of the amount of sales it's had, put their money where their mouth is, it's going to be sad. Here we go. Audio Jungle. Actually, it doesn't really fucking sound that sad. Hold on a second. That sounds like a hot song. No? That's kind of a nice beat. That just makes me want to dance. Hold on.
Fast forward.
Oh yeah, maybe it gets sad. No. Let's just go with the dramatic intro. Let's try it there. Outside, in a scary place, down mystery lane, there lies Arena. I don't know. You can do whatever you want with it, right? So anyways, that's how I start a lot of my videos, by the way. When I'm need to write or be creative, or we do these crazy ass themes, I start with the music. I'll come here and then I'll fill it out and I'll write to the music. So, side note for you, right? Any other questions I can ask you guys later? Christina, we'll see you soon on the next call. Any other questions I can answer for you guys? automation, process, da da da. And we're gonna dive like way deeper in the next 2 weeks, like crazy deep. But I really wanted to kind of paint the picture and the overview and give you kind of some basic fundamental steps that you can immediately implement into your business. There is a camp call in an hour's time. We'll be there. By the way, if you guys aren't in camp, what are you doing? Dave, is clicks and the customer still going? Man, I stopped teaching that a few months back, Dave. You can buy a solo version of it with the replays, though. You still can. Cool. We'll check out that email, Kyle. Anybody else have any questions that I can answer for you? Any questions I can answer for you? Video advice for functional fitness. What does that mean? Thank you so much. Thank you, Mark, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Cool, Vincent. Love it, man. How you liking clicks? Training for everyday living. Video advice for functional fitness. Training. Well, what problems would you solve or how would you help somebody as a result of watching your videos is the first question that I would ask you, Cameron. It's the very first thing that pops in my head. For people who want to be stronger, live longer. It's like, to me, like it's still, so right now what I'm kind of picking on you here, Cameron, but it's the, how many of you guys have heard that message before for a fitness commercial? Be stronger, live longer. How many of you guys have heard that? You see what I'm saying, Cameron? So you gotta feel that, like I always, everything is relative, right? So anybody coming in the fitness space right now, it's literally the most crowded industry in the world. And how many of you know a personal trainer? Matter of fact, actually, I take that back. How many of you type in the number of personal trainers that you know? How many? Someone said 13, 10, 3, 2, 3 to 4, 10 to 20 easy, 12-ish, 3, 0. There you go. Go to Al's area and start a business there. 8, 1, 3, 1. I'm a personal trainer. So we got, 4, 0. So we'll go to where Mike's living or Al. But what I'm saying, Cameron, is like, when you have an industry or service like that, you need to have some kind of competitive advantage, right? And maybe that's you. You said I focus on training people who want to get stronger and live a more functional life, but that's not really, nobody actually wants that. Cameron, let me break down to you what I mean. Nobody wants to just have a more functional life. So let's dive deeper, and I'm going to teach you about the why sequence. So I'll ask you, Cameron, why do you want to be stronger and let's stick with stronger. Why do you want to be stronger? Because to me, strength, that's like professional athletes who like want to train better and get better results and so they can make more money and provide better for the family. Why? So let's actually switch that. The functional life one. Why would someone want a more functional life? So that they can prevent injuries. Man, people really don't take action in the preventative state. People really don't. People avoid insurance because they think it will never happen to them, right? But people drive drunk all the time because they think they'll never get caught. Nothing will ever happen to them. So that I can do the thing that I want in life, like skiing and golfing. Now we're talking a little bit. So you teach me how to do workouts so that I can play golf. Okay, so that's a little bit better. So now when you're creating videos, when I have that kind of clarity, now maybe I can advertise specifically to people who enjoy playing golf and who follow golf avidly and show them functional workouts to increase their swing so they can swing better. So when they're with the boys and when they're out on the business trips, they can impress somebody, right? And they can have a conversation. They can not be insecure about the way that they play. Do you see all of a sudden we just sold something that may be a little bit different, intangible within a niche? Instead of just a functional life, which no one gives a shit about. But if I can hit the ball further so I can win bets with my boys, I'm interested. Everybody follow me on that? How it's so different. It's just a whole different ball game. And all we did was we just asked a couple more questions, Cameron. A couple more questions. Like a classic one you hear is having energy to spend time with kids. So there you go. So even that, you say, hey, my new client has diabetes. Okay, well, what's the downside to that? Why does that matter? What's the downside to that? Okay. Okay. I got a couple more notes here, and then let's see. I got to get ready for our next call. More stuff with the grandkids, exactly. All those things are motivators, yes. Yeah, so Arlene brings a good point. So just kind of rambling with you here, Camlin, and just kind of freestyling. But if you ran an ad to a diabetic and I would show a picture of like the best foods, or I would do a video of just me like eating just the fucking most tasty sweets of all time, and I look up the camera and go, oh, can't eat these, can you, diabetic? Well, if you want to be able to enjoy these, then I have a solution for you, you know? But again, until you get specific, I'll give you 2 words. Get specific, Camlin. Until you get specific, you're screwed. You're not going to be able to really thrive. You need to find a lane. Period. Get specific. Get specific. Get specific. Get specific. All right. Someone says just started Gene Pool yesterday. Almost done with skill 1. There's a lot of info. Thank you for this. There's a ton. I love the Gene Pool stuff. It's good. Okay, I'm just not good with defining. Yeah, it's a practice. And also too, when people get afraid to like hone down in a niche, they think they're stuck there forever. Again, it doesn't mean you're stuck there forever. Just stick there long enough to master it, get to your final, place that you want, get enough process and task broken down where somebody else can come in and execute while you focus on the strategy of the growth, and then you can do the same thing in a different niche. Okay? Cool. Great call. Got to pick up the kids. Awesome, Al. Can you build a campaign when the client doesn't have any videos or photos to add to the campaign? I can. I wouldn't want to, because then I would end up creating videos and photos for them, and that would be outside the process, and that would take us a ton of time and slow us down, and we end up losing money to take on a client. Boom. Talk to you guys all later. I hope you enjoy. How was this call today? I know it was a little different, and I kind of took a gamble with this one, but I thought it was probably more important maybe than all the other ones we've done. Okay, good. Got some good feedback. Cool. Nice. We'll dive in deeper next time and continue to go. Cool. Good. All right. Talk to you guys later. Be cool, but don't freeze. I'm out of here. Later, Rena. If that's your
Bye. Mm-hmm.